Croeso pawb to the Mega March and games under £15 PSN sales. This is a huge sale, and a lot of the deals aren't very good. They either don't have the version of the game with all of the DLC, or they're more expensive than normal, so be careful which games you pick up. There's a lot of games that you can get much better deals on than this. But don't worry, amongst all of these games, I found some really good deals that you can save a ton of money on, and they're really good games as well. So if you like the idea of finding cool new games to play, and saving a lot of money along the way, then you're in the right place. Don't forget to subscribe, you're welcome here anytime. Okay, this sale ends on the 25th of March, so that'll be the last day to pick up these deals. Let's look at the games. First up, we have Deadcraft Deluxe Edition. It was released in 2022, so it's 4 years old, and is on an 80% discount for the price of £6.59, which is a pretty good deal, as this edition includes both the PS4 and the PS5 versions, with 2 full DLC packs. It came from the Junkyard and Jesse Wasteland Wares, plus a special costume and a resource pack as well. So you're getting the complete version of the game with some real content included, which is really good. In this survival game, you have to survive a zombie apocalypse by growing your own zombie army and working together with others, or taking what you need with force. It features farming, crafting, base building, open world RPG mechanics, and a story to follow along with as well, which is pretty great. A lot of survival games don't have a story. Surviving is the story, so it's nice to see one that's put a little bit more effort in. Now, there's a ton of survival games and zombie games around, but it's nice to see this game puts a bit of a different spin on it, with you being able to grow your own army of zombies, and it's kinda cool that it's an isometric perspective as well. That's a more old school kind of gameplay, and it's really cool. I think the combination of different elements makes it interesting and a bit different within the genre, which is good. So if you really like survival games and you're looking for something a bit different, and even something with a story, then you might want to check this out. Even though it's very zombie focused, it's definitely different, and it's put some effort in to put a different spin on the genre. So I think fans might really enjoy this one. So why not take a look if you like the sound of it? And hey, if you've never played a survival game before, then you could start here if you're really into the idea and theming of it. But at this price, with so many options in this genre, you have plenty of other games to choose from, and a lot of them will be the same price as this, or even a bit cheaper. So if you're not that keen on this game, you'll have a load of other options to pick from in this sale and future videos as well. Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes Digital Deluxe Edition is our next game. It was released in 2024, so it's 2 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for the price of $16.24, which is pretty expensive, but it's still a pretty good deal considering the full price is pretty up there. And this includes a lot of DLC, as this edition includes the PS4 and the PS5 versions, plus the Season Pass that includes 3 story expansions, cosmetics, items, a digital art book, and the digital soundtrack as well. So you're getting a load of actual content, plus a load of cool extras as well, for the complete version, which is really great. In this JRPG, the Ghaldean Empire has discovered a new magical boost in technology, and they're scouring the content for an artifact to expand their power even further, as a twist of fate brings together an officer and a local villager, dragging them into the fires of war. Now, I'd heard the name Eiyuden, but I wasn't really sure about it. I hadn't played any of the games before, didn't know if it was a huge franchise or whatever, so I looked into it and it turns out it's a spiritual successor to Suikoden, made by the guy that originally made the first 2, and was involved in the 3rd one, so I'm not surprised I've heard of it. That series is legendary, and if it's made by the same guy as that, then it's got great pedigree, and I can see why I like the look of this one. The art style looks amazing. I love the mix of 2D and 3D. It's like a really cool modern old school art style, and I love it. If you're a fan of retro 16-bit games, then you'll absolutely love the art style for this one. And with a huge story and a ton of characters to play with and interact with, it looks really good. It looks like a proper old school RPG where the story's amazing and there's a lot of content to get your teeth into, which is great. A lot of games these days are shallow, and they just don't have the same quality. So if you're a fan of RPGs and you like retro games, or you're a fan of old school JRPGs and old school games, then you'll probably really enjoy this one. Especially if you're a fan of the Suikoden series, then you definitely want to check this out. It looks like a really cool game that I'm really tempted to play myself. And hey, if you never played a JRPG before, then I'm not sure I'd recommend starting here. It's a spiritual successor to a huge series, and it's also pretty pricey right now. You can get a lot of games for half this price, and that includes legendary AAA ones as well, that are the pinnacle of the genre, so you're much better off starting one of them instead. But don't worry, don't forget to subscribe, and then you won't miss them when they're on sale in future videos. We have a point-and-click adventure next, Encodia. It was released in 2021, so it's 5 years old, and it's on a 90% discount for the low price of £2.49, which is a really great deal. This game is set in Berlin in 2062, where Tina, a young homeless orphan, struggles to survive with her only friend, a robot guardian named Sam53. But after she discovers a message from her father to finish his work to save the world, an incredible adventure awaits her. Now, point-and-click adventures I really like in general. They usually have really cool stories and really cool adventure mechanics. Sometimes the puzzles can be a bit obtuse and they're not that sensible, and they aren't always that straightforward. But this game looks really different. It's nice to see a sci-fi themed one, and it looks like a really cool cyberpunk sort of futuristic setting, which is great. I'm quite tempted to pick it up myself because the story is really intriguing and I like the setting. So if you're a fan of point-and-click adventures, especially if you've played them before and you like their mechanics, then you'll really enjoy this game if you're into this sort of theming and story. So if you like the look of it, then why not check it out? It's a really cool game from a very rare genre that I think looks really good. Why not take a look at it if you're tempted? And hey, if you never played a point-and-click adventure before, then you could start here. It's really cheap, it's got a really cool sci-fi theme, and it just looks like a really good quality game. Pretty much the way I say to pick up games from this genre is pick up the one with the best story or theming that you like, because point-and-click adventures are all pretty similar usually, and what differentiates them is their theming and their story. So if you're not into a sci-fi theme, then skip this game. There'll be plenty of other options in future videos. But if you're into sci-fi, then check this out. You never know, you might find your new favourite game genre. Endzone: A World Apart is our next game. It was released in 2023, so it's 3 years old, and it's on a 90% discount for the low price of £4.49, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great deal, especially for a PS5 game. Now, the PS4 version is also on sale for $3.99, but it doesn't include the DLC and you can't buy the DLC for the PS4 edition. So if you don't have a PS5, you can get the game, but it's a lesser version without the DLC, and I'm not sure if you'll ever get it. Now, the PS4 and PS5 versions are separate and there's no upgrade, and the DLC is only for PS5, and it's included in one version of the PS5 game but not the other, and they're the same price. So, TLDR, if you don't have a PS5, you can pick up the PS4 one, but you'll never get the DLC. If you've got a PS5, don't buy the PS4 one, buy the PS5 one, but make sure it's the right one that has the DLC included, because they're both the same price and only one of them has it. Make sure you get the right one. In this RTS, after a nuclear apocalypse, you must return to the surface 150 years later to rebuild civilization while dealing with radiation, extreme weather, and the rest of humanity. It features challenging scenarios to play through and over 90 side missions as well. Now, I'm a big fan of RTS, I really like that genre, and it's nice to see that there's more of them coming to console, because usually they're a more PC-centric game style, and they still play better on PC, but at least you get the option on console now, I guess. And this game looks really good. It got really good reviews on PC. On PlayStation it got some mixed reviews, but I'm assuming that's because of all the confusing versions. It's an underlying good game, and there's a version that has the DLC and is really cheap. So as far as I'm concerned, that's a good deal. If you're into RTS and you like the idea of rebuilding after the apocalypse, then why not check this out? It looks like a really cool and interesting game with a cool spin and story, and I think it'll be real fun for people that like RTS games. So if you're tempted like I am, why not check it out? It looks like a pretty good game. And hey, if you've never played an RTS before, then you could start here. It's a really good game with DLC included for the PS5 for a really low price, which is really good. It might not be the best one around, but it's definitely one of the best deals around. So if you're tempted by this genre and you like the idea of the apocalypse theming, then why not pick this game up? At this price, I think you'll have a lot of fun. We have a hack and slash game next, Fate Extella Link Digital Deluxe Edition. It was released in 2019, so it's 7 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the price of £9.99, which is a pretty good deal, as this edition includes the digital soundtrack and 2 cosmetic outfits, but to be honest, the normal version might be a better deal when it's on sale, because I don't really consider the soundtrack and outfits as actual content, so why pay more for it? But hey, I haven't seen that on sale yet, so this is the best deal at the moment. In this game, the last refuge for humanity resides within a virtual world on a lunar supercomputer, and as a new threat emerges, a war is waged to bring peace back to the virtual world. It features 26 characters to play as, and 8-player online multiplayer as well, although I'm not sure how busy that'll be. But hey, it's there as an option if you've got a lot of friends with this game anyway. Now, this game looks like a Dynasty Warriors game, which is great. I love that series. It's really fun. So seeing an anime-themed alternative to that, with a story included, looks really good. It's from a pretty big series that's been around a little while, and it just looks like a really good game, from a very niche genre these days. So if you're into action games, and especially hack and slash, then you'll probably really enjoy this. With a ton of characters and abilities to play with, you'll have a lot of fun with this. Especially if you've got a lot of mates to play with online, then you might have a lot of fun. So why not check it out if you like the sound of it? It's a really niche game these days, but I think a lot of people will love it. And hey, if you've never played a hack and slash game before, then I'm not sure I'd recommend starting here. It's a really good game with really good quality, but it's still a little pricey. You can get other games cheaper than this, and even games from massive franchises that are AAA. So you're probably better off starting with one of them instead. But hey, if you're a real big fan of Fate, or you just like anime stuff in general, or you've played the rest, then why not take a look at this? It's a really good quality game, and it's at a pretty decent price. So check it out if you really like the sound of it. I love this next game, Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition. It was released in 2014, so it's 12 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for the low price of £2.87, which is a really good deal, as this edition includes all of the DLC and the extra playable characters as well, which is great. You're getting the complete version of the game for a real low price. In this Metroidvania, you get to play as Juan the Luchador, who is murdered and must rise from the land of the dead and fight for revenge to reunite with the love of his life from the evil skeleton Kalaka. And it features 4-player local co-op as well. If you like to play games with friends at parties or your family, then this is a good option for that. Now, I love Metroidvanias, and I completed this game way back in the day when it came out, and I absolutely loved it. I got really hooked to it and I just couldn't stop playing it. It's a really good Metroidvania game, but the theme in it is amazing. The music, the graphics, the character designs, everything is brilliant in this game. I absolutely love it. If you're a fan of Metroidvanias or 2D platformers or retro games and you haven't played this, what are you doing with your life? Pick this game up. I absolutely love it, and I think you will as well. Definitely take a look at this. If you like Metroidvanias in any way, shape or form, you owe it to yourself to do that. And hey, if you never played a Metroidvania before, then you could definitely start here. It's a fantastic example from the genre at a really low price with a load of content included. Pretty much the only reason I'd say not to pick it up is if you're not into the luchador theming for some reason. But if you're not, then you will have other options in other sales that are about the same price. But I'd still recommend this one. It's an amazing place to start, and I think it'll be your new favourite game genre if you give it a chance. Hand of Fate Deluxe Edition is our next game. It was released in 2017, so it's 9 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the price of £3.19, which is a pretty good deal, as this edition includes the Wildcards DLC and the Murder at Sea update as well, so you do get the complete version of the game with a fair bit of extra content included, which is really good. In this roguelike, you get to draw your cards and play your hand, as the cards create the dungeons and bestow your equipment upon you. With each playthrough being unique, can you defy fate with the cards being dealt to you and defeat the dealer to win. Now, this game was a pretty big deal when it came out. Roguelikes were still very in vogue back then, and this was a very different one with a unique idea that just played really well. These days it might be a bit more run-of-the-mill because there's so many different roguelikes and different spins on the genre since then, but it was still a really great game that had some cool ideas and a pretty different way to play a game as well. So if you're into roguelikes and you like the idea of this cool and odd little one, then why not check it out? It's got some cool content included, and I think it still has something to offer within the genre. So if you're tempted, check it out. I think it might surprise you if you pick it up. And hey, if you've never played a roguelike before, then you could start here. It's one of the older ones that was big back in the day, so it's probably a good place to start. It's got really cool ideas, and it plays pretty well. So if you're tempted, definitely take a look. But if not, you will have a ton of other options in this genre, and a lot of them will be about the same price as this, or only a little bit more. So if you're not that tempted by this one, don't forget to subscribe, and then you won't miss your other options when they're on sale in future videos. We have a VR game next, Hubris. It was released in 2023, so it's 3 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for the low price of £6.24, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great deal, especially for a PSVR 2 game. That's a pretty good discount. Now, this game is for PSVR 2 only, and sense controllers are required, so you can't play it any other way, which is great because this sort of game is made for that, and it really makes the game work much better. In this VR action adventure, after an agent goes missing, you play a new recruit sent along with their ship pilot to investigate the terraforming planet where the agent vanished. It features a variety of VR mechanics, resource gathering, RPG elements, and more. Now this game did have a little bit of mixed review. The biggest complaints were that it was quite short, which isn't unusual for VR games. They're not generally known for being really huge, massive games. But also, a lot of people have said the story's not that great. But hey, the gameplay itself looks really cool. Being the investigator and traveling to the planet and seeing the different locations, it's just a really good immersive VR adventure. Whether the story ends up being great at the end or not, I can't tell. I haven't played it. But generally people like this game. It looks like a really good VR adventure game. It's got really good quality graphics and mechanics built from the ground up for VR. It just looks like a good quality game in general. I'm tempted myself, and I'll probably pick it up if it gets a little bit cheaper at some point. But generally my gut says it's a pretty good game, especially at this discount. So if you're a fan of VR games like I am, and you love the adventure ones, then why not take a look at this? It looks like a really good sci-fi adventure for a really fair price. So why not check it out if you like the look of it? And hey, if you've never played a VR action adventure before, then you could start here. It's not the cheapest game around, but it is a quality game, and especially on PSVR 2, on PS5, you don't have a huge amount of options, especially at this sort of discount. So if you've always been tempted by this VR genre, then why not take a look at this game? It looks pretty decent at this price, and I don't think you'll regret buying it. We have a really cool looking game next. Iconoclasts. It was released in 2018, so it was 8 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the price of £3.19, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great deal. In this Metroidvania, Robin always wanted to be a mechanic, but as the world starts going nuts, with penance raining down on everyone, and one concerned agent's after her, she sets out on an epic adventure to try and fix the world, and it features over 20 huge boss battles as well. So if you're into that, then you'll really enjoy this game. Now, I love Metroidvanias, you should know that by now. They're really good games, and I think the genre in general is just amazing. And I really like the art style for this game. It looks amazing. The cutscenes and animation especially are really good, and the animation in-game is really good as well. It just looks like an absolutely really good quality game with retro stylings that anyone should be proud of. So if you're a fan of Metroidvania and you like the idea of this mechanic-based, cool retro art world, then you'll really enjoy this game, with a huge amount of boss battles in it and some really cool intricate animations and combat with a load of RPG elements. This is a really good game. So if you've never played this and you're a fan of the genre, definitely take a look. You never know, you might just find your new favourite game. And hey, if you've never played a Metroidvania before, then you could definitely start here. It's a really good quality game for a really low price, in a really great genre. So if you've always been tempted by a Metroidvania, then why not take a look at this one? It's a really cool game at a really low price. So if you like the idea of it, then pick this one up. But if not, there will be other options for you in this video and future videos as well. Up next is my star by Layers of Fear 2. It was released in 2019, so it's 7 years old, and it's on a 90% discount for the low price of £1.59, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really good deal for a game of this quality. This psychological horror is set on a haunted ocean liner, where you're summoned by an unorthodox director, and you will have to face twisted memories from your own past to answer the question of what you're willing to sacrifice for the perfect role. Now, the first game of the franchise was an absolutely amazing masterpiece within the genre. It got such good reviews and everybody loved it, and it was pretty much the peak of psychological horror for a while. Now, this game has a lot to live up to. Does it live up to that? Of course not. It's the sequel to a masterpiece. But it's not a bad game either, and more importantly, it's at a really low price. So if you're a fan of the first game, I don't think they're related, they're just by the same guy, or you just like psychological horror games in general, then you should definitely take a look at this. It's a game from a big series with a lot of history to it. It may not be as good as the first one, but at this price, who cares? It's still a really good game. So if you're looking for something a bit scary, why not check this out? At this price, you can't go far wrong. Like I said, it's my star buy. It's well worth your time and money, I promise. And hey, if you never played a psychological horror before, then you could definitely start here. It's from a huge franchise and it's at a really low price, and it's just generally a really good quality game. At the price we're talking here, you can't ask for much more really, then why not take a look at it? Pretty much the only reason I'd say not to look at this game is if you don't like horror games. But if that's the case, don't worry, there's plenty more games for you to choose from in this sale, and there'll be more for you to choose from in future videos as well. We have a story-driven game next, Life is Strange Remastered Collection. It was released in 2022, so it's 4 years old, but the original game came out in 2015, and it's on an 80% discount for the price of £6.59, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really good deal, as this collection includes the complete remastered Life is Strange game and the prequel Before the Storm, with all of the DLC and content included, which is a really good deal. That's a lot of game for your money. In this story-driven adventure, you get to play as the student Max, who returns to Arcadia Bay for school, but after people go missing and an impending storm arrives, you soon get caught up in events that will change your life and everyone around you forever. Now, I completed the original game of this. I haven't played the prequel, but the original game is really good. The gameplay mechanics are really cool and different, which I can't talk about without spoiling the story, but it's basically a really good story-driven game with some really cool mechanics, and the story really pulls you in and motivates you to find out what's going on. It's just a really good game, really good quality, and if you're into this sort of thing in general and you never played this series, then you should definitely check this out. It's better than the sequels in the series by far, and it's a really good game. Definitely check it out if you've never played it before and you're tempted. I think it might just be the best game you've played in ages. And hey, if you never played a story-driven adventure before, then you could definitely start here. At this price, you're getting a lot of content for your money, but you're getting one of the best options within the genre. It's a really good game with some really cool gameplay and a lot of content included. If you've always wanted to try a story-driven game, then definitely check this out. But if for some reason you don't like the idea of this one, or you're not into the theming or the story, then don't worry, you will have plenty more options in future videos. So don't forget to subscribe, and then you won't miss out when they're on sale in the future. We have a racing game next, MotoGP 24, PS4 and PS5. It was released in 2024, obviously, so it's 2 years old. And it's on an 85% discount for the low price of £6.74, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great deal, especially because you're getting both the PS4 and the PS5 versions, which is great. In this game, you have to challenge your racing abilities in MotoGP, Moto2, Moto3, and Moto E competitions, featuring all official content, tracks, and races, with an exhilarating campaign where you shape your own legacy in MotoGP history, which is really cool. If you're a fan of racing and specifically MotoGP, then there's a lot of content for you here, especially with Moto E included, so you even get the electric competition. That's really cool. You get all of the divisions with a really cool single player story. I don't see what else you could want from a MotoGP game. So if you're a fan of the sport and you haven't played one in a while, or you're just looking for a game that's a bit different, then why not check this out? It may not be for everyone, but it's a really good game from a really good series. I think you'll have a lot of fun with this one. And hey, if you never played a racing game before, then you could definitely start here. It's a modern game with a load of content included for a very reasonable price, especially considering all of the licensing it has. It's a really good deal with a load of good content. So if you've always been tempted by a MotoGP game or a racing game, then why not take a look at this? It's a really cool game for a very fair price. Definitely check it out if you like the sound of it. Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire Ultimate Edition is our next game. It was released in 2020, so it's 6 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for the price of £12.49, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a pretty decent deal, as this edition includes all of the major updates and expansions as well, so you're getting a huge amount of content and the complete version of the game, which is really good. In this isometric RPG, the god Eothas awakens, destroying your castle, killing your people, and stealing a piece of your soul. And together with your companions, you must quest to stop him as he continues his path of destruction across the Deadfire archipelago. Now, I love RPGs, and I'm a big fan of isometric ones. You don't see a huge amount of them these days, so it's nice to see a bit of a resurgence lately, and this just looks like a really good quality RPG. It's from a series that's pretty well thought of and pretty well liked, and this edition includes a ton of content with a load of extras. So if you're a fan of RPGs and you like old school isometric style ones, then definitely check this out. It looks like a really cool game with a load of content that's very popular and very good. Definitely check it out if you're tempted. I don't think you'll regret it at all. And hey, if you never played an isometric RPG before, then I'm not sure I'd recommend starting here. It's a really good quality game with a load of extra content, but it is still pretty pricey. You can get other big AAA legendary games for less than this, so you're probably better off starting with one of them instead. But don't worry, if you keep up with the videos, you won't miss your other options when they're on sale in future. And the final game I have for you is Spyro and Crash Remastered Game Bundle. It was released in 2018, so it's 8 years old, but the original game's a PS1 era, so they're much older than that, although they're remakes, so it's not the same thing. And it's on a 75% discount for the price of $14.99, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a pretty good deal, as this bundle includes 6 full games, the first 3 Spyro the Dragon games, and the first 3 Crash Bandicoot games. They were all on PS1, and they were all legendary games for a reason. These are all adventure platformers, and in the Spyro games, after all the other dragons get crystallized, you are the last dragon remaining, and you have to save all of the other dragons, and also rescue their stolen eggs along the way, by defeating Nasty's forces before they take over the homeworlds forever. And in the Crash Bandicoot games, you must stop the mad scientist Dr. Neo Cortex from taking over the world with a genetically evolved animal army, while rescuing the Bandicoot Torna along the way, with a little help from some free animals. Now, back in the day I played a lot of the Spyro games and the Crash games. I liked Spyro more because dragons are cooler than bandicoots. So I've been waiting for the Spyro Remastered Trilogy to go on sale for ages, but I didn't realise they bundled it with Crash as well, so this might be the better deal by far, because I do like those games, and I've played a bit of the remastered ones, and they're really good. Between the 6 games, there's a mass amount of content included here. They don't really make games like these anymore, which is a shame because I love these old school adventure platformers. They're a lot of fun, the story's usually pretty cool, and the gameplay's always a lot of fun. So I'm really excited to play these at some point, and I'll probably pick them up when they get really cheap. Hopefully they'll get cheaper. But hey, right now they're still a really good deal. This amount of classic AAA legendary content for this price is really good. I mean, you're talking less than £3 a game, which is mad. So if you're a fan of retro games or you're just a fan of adventure platformers, you should definitely check these out. Especially if you never played them originally. God, there's such good content and a lot of it at a really good price. Definitely take a look if you're tempted in any way, shape or form. And hey, if you never played an adventure platformer before, then I'm not sure I'd recommend starting here. They're really good, there's a load of content, but it is still pretty pricey, and you get a lot of games that you're never going to play if you don't like them, which is very unlikely, but you never know. You can pick them up in separate bundles, and there are a load of other options that are way cheaper than this if you're just picking up one game as well. So you're probably better off starting with one of them instead, and you can always pick this up in the future when you know you enjoy this genre. So if that's the case, don't forget to subscribe, and then you won't miss your other options in future videos. And that's all the games I have for the Mega March and Games Under £15 PSN sales. What did you think of the games I picked? Did I pick good ones or did I pick bad ones? And what about the star buy? Did it deserve it, or should some other game have got it instead? Leave all your comments below and we can talk about it later. Anyway, hope you found some really cool games to play, but more importantly I hope you saved a lot of money. I'll see you guys in the next sale. Hoil Vour.